On this edition of Around BCC, last month we were in Attleboro. This month we look at what's happening at BCC's New Bedford campus. Our alumni spotlight shines upon a New Bedford School Committee member, and BCC's students and staff rally in support of public higher education. Welcome to Around BCC. I'm Keith Tebow. Last month we had the great opportunity to see what was happening at our Attleboro Center. Today we're heading east to BCC's other main campus in New Bedford. I'm joined by three guests this month. To my immediate left is Teresa Romanovich. She is the Dean of the New Bedford campus. Been here since day one, right, Terry?
Yes. Thank you.
To Brenda's left, Terry's left is Brenda Francis. She's from the Career Center here in New Bedford, and she's involved in a number of workforce development initiatives here at the BCC New Bedford campus. Brenda, thank you.
Thank you.
And to Brenda's left is Frank Romanelli. He's the director of BCC's Middle College, a new program which just started this year, which will look at getting dropouts in New Bedford back to school. So Frank, thank you for joining us, and thank you all for joining us. Terry, let me start with you. BCC's 10th year here in New Bedford. Can you believe it? We had a big celebration in the fall.
Yeah, it was wonderful. I think it was really nice for me personally to look back and reflect on 10 years here. I mean, you start with, just over 200 students, and within 10 years we're up to 2,000 students. So that kind of growth has just been phenomenal. And while I was thinking about today's talk, I was also thinking about all the grants that we did. And when I was doing the math, we've brought in over $4 million to the New Bedford campus in a variety of grants, which have served anywhere from women who are on welfare and who are trying to get off of welfare, earn sustainable employment, to individuals who've been behind the wall and are now re-entering society and are working on their degree, as well as people who are paraprofessionals in the New Bedford School Department trying to get jobs as teachers, and we have a grant to do that. So it's really been amazing to see the lives that we've been able to touch over those 10 years. And I think what struck me most, too, when we were doing our 10th year anniversary were the community partners. Brenda's just one example of the lush community representatives that have been part of this campus. Everyone from the mayor of the city down to the local business partners that we've had. Bristol has really had an amazing impact on the economic growth of the city. I was talking to an individual who runs Downtown New Bedford, Inc., and she said that since 2008, and we've actually been here since 2001, there have been 49 new businesses in downtown New Bedford. And we know that a lot of that is due to us having 2,000 students. So the coffee shops that weren't here when we came, that's foot traffic, exactly right. And so we see these businesses growing, and it's been a twofold pleasure for us. One is obviously I now can have nice coffee, but the other is that these are people who are now coming to BCC. Right. They're small businesses who are saying, gee, I need a QuickBook training, or I need some assistance with marketing, and with our workforce development partners, we've been able to respond to that. So it's really been amazing, and I'm really very proud to say that in 10 years we've not only grown the campus, but we built a whole new center for e-learning, e-health, and we've brought health career programs to New Bedford, which we didn't have when we first came here, and that was through a public-private partnership, so that's been pretty exciting, and I think you and I have talked about that on other shows.
And we'll talk about it more as we go forward, but talk a little bit about the progression of the campus over 10 years. Obviously, there are still a great number of degree programs that students in this area don't have to leave New Bedford to get a full BCC degree.
Right.
How has that changed, say, from year 1 to now year 10?
Sure. So when we started, we had about 5 degree programs that we could guarantee that a student could complete within the campus. And now we have over 15 degree programs. We're adding another 5 in the fall through our e-health program, and we also have over 15 certificate programs. So I mean, the growth has been phenomenal. The opportunities have been amazing on what a student can do, just as you said, here fully in New Bedford without having to go to Fall River, because we do understand that the student population that we've been able to attract here have been people that weren't weren't able to get to Fall River. So they had really no access to higher education.
Right.
So it's really been amazing.
You mentioned some of the grant programs that you've been able to secure. Talk about some of those that, again, have evolved over the years, and maybe some that may even have been new this past year for people who haven't seen you since last year we did this show.
Sure. So we've had our JET program, which is our Journey into Education and Teaching, and that's a 5-year grant with the Department of Education, and that's helped individuals within the Fall River and New Bedford community who are currently paraprofessionals in school systems who have a vision of becoming a teacher. And I think our philosophy was, why not grow your own? Paraprofessionals we know are individuals who like working with kids, who have wonderful experience. So that's been a really great grant, and we're in our 5th year now, and we're now starting to see our graduates who are actually becoming teachers. So that's really been a blast and a nice thing to watch. I think our Wise Women program, which is for women who are in transition, has really grown, and this year, unfortunately, we lost our funding, which was through the Department of Transitional Assistance and the Executive Office of Community College. So the Women's Fund of New Bedford stood up and have funded us for the next 4 years. And that's a true partnership that shows that when Bristol does a good job, people recognize it and they come to the plate, and they did not want to see this end. And so now we have a 4-year commitment for them, and we're actually working with them on a LifeWorks project, which is an expansion of the Wise Woman program into more of a program that will actually support women for 2 years and then transfer and support them again to a baccalaureate degree. So saying, really, if we really want to help women, we have to make sure that they have a bachelor's degree or a credential that will support, because many of them are head of households with women. So that's really been exciting. Frank will talk a little more about the middle college, but that's been our latest and greatest new initiative for the campus. And obviously eHealth has been tremendous.
Now let's talk about eHealth. You had a celebration for the 10th year anniversary of the campus here downtown. You also had sort of an open house 1-year look back at eHealth starting. Again, that public-private partnership that was, you know, bandied about a little bit. There was a little controversy behind it, but it seems to have worked over the first year. Talk about how that has grown, and obviously you mentioned there's going to be, what, 5 new programs in the fall, correct?
So I think what has helped with that is now that eHealth is there, not only do we have programs like nursing, occupational therapy, massage therapy, medical coding and billing, but we also have these programs offered in a hybrid model. So an individual like yourself who might want to someday be a massage therapist.
I don't know about that, but anyway.
Well, we'll see. I'll let Sharon Tilton get a hold of you, and you never know. And that would give you an opportunity, just coming 1 day a week to the site, taking the rest of your classes online. And so it opens the whole healthcare training industry to a much broader base, because someone from Attleboro, someone from Brockton could come, and they only have to make a commitment of 1 day, except for obviously once they get into their internships within the hospitals and so forth. So, and we have nursing coming on board in the fall. We've just brought the OTA program over, and so it's really been magical to see this community come alive and see the hospitals that have been waiting for these kinds of supports within our community, healthcare. The Health Center right down the street has been instrumental in sending their employees over to get training in medical coding. So it's really been great, and we've done a lot of CNA, home health aides. So we do the credit, non-credit. We're bringing some of those CNA programs into the credit arena. So it's been a really wonderful experience, and on top of it all, it's a wonderful facility.
It's beautiful.
It is absolutely beautiful.
We toured it last year when we were here.
You did. Absolutely, and that has been a nice celebration, because like you said, not only was there controversy, but there was a lot of delays. And so to walk through this building and see it thriving with students, it's really been great. And we've actually moved 6 general classrooms from the New Bedford campus over there as well. So we've added 6 additional general classrooms. So there are probably 1,000 of our students running in and out of the building throughout a day.
Now originally I believe, and correct me on the numbers, that there were I believe up to 250 applicants at the beginning. Has that number changed now with the new courses?
Yes, and we will see that grow over time because now when you're adding programs like nursing and we're looking at Surge Tech coming on board and other programs, then you're going to start to see even more. And I think the relationships with the hospitals who are coming and saying, boy, wouldn't it be nice if you could do this and we could do that. And there are some other places that are using us for pharmacy tech training. So there's been a nice relationship with the employers as well, who are just thrilled that they're having this opportunity in New Bedford. So it's been a whirlwind 10 years, I have to say. I've seen things grow rapidly in other positions I've been in, but never as quickly as what we've seen here. And I think the thing that I love the most are the partnerships like Brenda that
That's a perfect segue.
That I've
right
seen.
on to Brenda now. Brenda Francis from the Career Center. Brenda, you work closely with BCC in trying to match skills of those who are unemployed or out of work or even underemployed to try to get back into the workforce. Talk about how the relationship works between the center and BCC.
Sure. The Career Center serves two customers. So we have a job seeker customer and an employer customer. And oftentimes our role is to sort of define what is the gap. So if we can't move that person in right now, what is it that they need to be shored up to get into that job? Right. And that's where our partnership with Bristol Community College is so strong. We look at our partnership as the rapid response, because when we say we have this group of people now needing these kinds of skills, we can work with Bristol Community College and they actually develop the kind of curriculum, the program, and so forth that we need to have. We do that through a number of ways where we might look at some grants opportunities and we collaborate that way. We use funds that we have existing. There could be some scholarship money that's available through the Department of Labor funding we receive. However it works to get it done, we get it done. And it has been amazing. I can only say that over the last few years that we've had such a high level of unemployment and a large number of individuals coming into the center needing help, that need in that development of our relationship has been stronger than ever. Terry mentioned a couple of the grants in particular with our populations that are even harder to serve, if you will, where they really need additional support. Not a lot of institutions of higher learning are able to adjust and adapt and feel comfortable around serving those populations and having the level of comfort for the customer themselves. We've been able to do that and very successfully run these programs.
It must be frustrating at times where the job market is so tight that you may have some opportunities for people, and the people who are looking for the job just you want to match them together, and I'm glad that BCC can help with that.
That's exactly the relationship. It really is. And we hope that, as Terry's expressed her feelings about moving the community forward, we certainly feel that this relationship, where we have a direct opportunity to have the unemployed and underemployed individuals move towards lifelong learning, which is really what the workplace is about today. It's about lifelong learning. And individuals who were fearful of going into a classroom or hadn't been in a classroom for years, I have to say that the Bristol Community College, that bridge, has been very comfortable. The New Bedford campus in particular has made it very comfortable for people to make that transition.
Let's move over to Frank before we run out of time. Frank, you're the director of the Middle College. That was the big initiative here in New Bedford this year. Again, another public-private partnership to try to reduce the dropout problem here in Fall River. Mainly it's students who have dropped out, may have been out for a number of years, looking to come back to school. Talk about how the first year has been here, because it'll be almost the first year, started last fall. Sure. How it's been and how it's been successful so far.
Well, I stepped in the middle of that. I started with the second semester. I started with the second cohort. We have two cohorts of students, one that started in the fall and one that started in the spring. And we have a bridge cohort that comes in the middle of the day to get some developmental classes so that they can start full-time in the fall. So we have a total of 40 students right now in the program. The program was set up beautifully by the team that brought it on board in September. Terry, Kristen Cadlick, Pete Nassif, Jan Baptist. They did a great job really with the staff bringing this thing on board. So I stepped into something that was really smooth. And
they did all the heavy lifting,
They definitely did. They made it real easy for me to pick up the piece. So, and they've continued to be a real powerful team for me with our students. We've had some fun successes already. We're looking at 3 graduations from New Bedford High School in June from our program.
Wow.
One of those students has already filled out his full-time application, FAFSA, for September.
At BCC?
At BCC. All 3 have indicated that they'll continue at BCC. One of those students is also getting training right now for to be a tutor through TASK. And and right now we're looking at recruiting for the fall. We want to bring in 2 more new cohorts and a bridge program this summer. And we're putting together a leadership team with our students and some of our staff to develop our open houses and our recruitment program. They're going to work with us on that together.
Now, obviously, part of this program is working with the New Bedford Public Schools to identify some of these dropouts, some of those that have been left behind or left the system. Is that relationship still good in getting the references? And
Yes.
are the cohorts filled?
Yes. Actually, this afternoon, just every other Wednesday, we meet as a team at New Bedford High School with the New Bedford High School staff. And we brainstorm through ideas. We talk about our common concerns about our students, our successes, our needs, and planning forward together as a team. So what their side of the needs are, what our sides of the needs are, and what's best for our students. So they've been an excellent team.
Now, people who are in New Bedford who may have been a dropout, looking to get back into school, this is a good way to earn not only high school credits for graduation, but also some credits toward their education here at BCC. That's very important. There's that 2 tie-in.
This is a dual enrollment program, so yes.
And the best part, the price is?
The price is free for the student.
That's great.
Yes.
Now, if people have any other information, they can just call the college.
They can call and ask for our extension. We are on the BCC website as of today.
Okay, good.
We have a Facebook page. We have an online application. We've been building a lot of resources to make things available for them.
Why don't you give me your extension?
So,
The extension is
3974.
And we'll put that on the screen as
thank
well
you.
as we do this.
Thank
Terry,
you.
as we wrap up, one of the issues that has been continued to be an issue is space. You talked about how 6 classrooms have now been opened up down at Pleasant Street at the
Purchase Street.
Purchase Street e-learning, e-health location. And how is the process of maybe expanding this? Talk about trying to get a bigger campus. What's the latest on that?
So we've been meeting with the mayor. President Sprague, myself, the mayor, and a team from BCC have been meeting to talk about what the mayor's vision is. We have a brand new mayor, which I hope you'll be able to meet at some point live. Mayor Mitchell, who's very supportive of BCC and really would like to see us grow. So there's a lot of effort now, once again, as Mayor Lang was, his predecessor, to look at how do we make sure that this community has a full campus. And there's a lot of synergy, once again, and it's always nice to have another voice, a new mayor who's pushing that forward, who understands the economic development value, as Brenda said, the partnerships with what we're doing in terms of bridging some of those gaps. So I think all the little ducks are in a row, so I look forward to next time.
Maybe next year at this time we'll have more news.
That's
we like to break news on this show.
That's
Maybe
right.
next year.
So we keep plugging away at that because I think we've really demonstrated the need and the demand for a full campus in New Bedford. So I look forward to that too.
Terry, Brenda, and Frank, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Time now for Alumni in Your Community segment, where we have a local New Bedford politician who actually got his start in education at BCC.
Hi, I'm Larry Finnerty, BCC class of 1968. Grew up in New Bedford, a lifelong resident, went to parochial schools, K through 12. High school was Holy Family High School, and pretty much interested in everything but academics. Sports, basketball, big basketball school, baseball, and other activities with friends. A very close-knit community at Holy Family, small classes. About 80 graduated in a senior class, and we've been friends ever since. What I was interested in as a junior and a senior in high school was broadcasting, and was looking at that time. There was a Connecticut School of Broadcasting, and wasn't quite sure how to navigate to that. Parents had not gone to college. Dad didn't graduate high school, like many in the community at that time. Very close-knit family. Wasn't a lot of support to go to college. You had to sort of like fish it together. Mom was a big help. But applied to Bridgewater State and then heard about this. At the time, it was known to us as Bristol County Community College. It didn't really exist. I think on the crest, I think it does say 1965. but applied to Bristol Community College in Bridgewater and gained acceptance to both, and decided on Bristol. My major at Bristol in '66, September, was pre-professional, as they called it, because I knew I wanted to go on to a four-year degree. I didn't know if broadcasting would work out. We had to see how the writing and the communication skills worked out, but that's what my intent was. The early years at BCC, you were pretty much a pioneer. You had to put up with what it was. Everybody was in the same boat. You'd have a class downtown, so to speak, across from the Bank Street Armory, and your next class could be at what I recall being called St. William's in the South End. And of course, navigating to the South End, there was a favorite Fall police officer who used to assist us in getting there in a slower rate than we wanted to get there. So after a few speeding tickets, we slowed down. But it was interesting because everybody was in the same boat and you were learning. And there was a great faculty. I have great memories of the faculty over there. People who I still don't know them by their first names except for Jules Reichenbusch. But some great teachers who really helped those who were going to college for the first time in their family, so you didn't have anybody else to confer with at home, certainly not to help you with the schoolwork, but not to also help you navigate what was important and what wasn't important. They were a great faculty. I graduated in 2 years and went to SMU at the time, or SMTI, that name changed very often, and went there, and in between, I took a year and went into the Army Reserves, and went on active duty in '69, came back and finished up at SMU in 1971 with a BA in history. After SMU, I had the degree in history, which is sort of a dime a dozen unless you're going to go on and teach at college, and entered the education field and taught at an elementary school not too far from downtown New Bedford. It was called St. James School before it combined with St. James, St. John. Building is still there. It was across from the Moss Twist Drill. And it was a K-8 school, taught the 6th grade there. After 1 year at the parochial school, it's tough to get by on a parochial school salary, so we looked to the public schools and gained certification. Taught elementary school at the Phillips Avenue School, which just recently closed a couple of years ago to open up for the Lincoln School. It's on Ashley Boulevard in Phillips Avenue. And taught the 6th grade there for two years. Then came to Kearney Academy when the year before Kearney Academy opened in the County Street School, which is in the administration building on the 2nd floor, or was. And then we opened the Kearney Academy across the street in 1977. Taught there for 2 years, and then went to Keith Junior High School at the time as a guidance counselor. I was at Keith for about 10 years as a guidance counselor, 7th and 8th grade at the time, and then became the director of special education for the school district for about 14 years, and then assistant superintendent for special services my last 6 years. So it was a long 35-year trek in the system. The educational track in the educational field certainly leads you to other certifications and degrees and preparation, so that after a few years in the elementary school, enrolled in a master's program at Bridgewater State. I have my master's degree in guidance and counseling from Bridgewater, and then what's called a Certificate of Advanced Graduate Study, or a CAGS, at Bridgewater in Educational Leadership, and then a doctorate in education from UMass Boston in, I think, 2002 for the last 6 years as assistant superintendent. That credential is pretty much a requirement as you move through the educational administration. I retired in June of 2008 from the school department after 35 years, and that was an off year for election, so there was no municipal election that year. Started thinking about it the next year, 2009, about a run for school committee. And I was very interested because I didn't feel that I had achieved everything I wanted to. You really don't ever arrive. You just continue to strive on the journey. But there were still some things that I thought I could contribute to. I had sat on the other side of the table and seen policies passed and questions asked and discussions held, and felt that I could contribute, and felt that I hadn't done enough also. I felt I had an obligation, because I do know the system, And I do know where we need to improve, and there's many areas in which we need to improve. So I ran for election in 2009 and was successful, and I've been on the school committee now for a little over 2 years. But I've seen many students who have left high school, and you know it's not because of intelligence, because of some struggles they may be having with family or economics or other social issues. It has nothing to do with intelligence, and the light goes on at 20 or 21. They need that lifeline, and BCC has always been that lifeline.
Welcome back. State officials are in that time of the year when they're beginning debate on the 2013 state budget. That talk is always of interest to the BCC students, faculty, and staff. Those groups made a point last month to rally together in support of BCC and the public higher education system in Massachusetts. Led by the BCC Student Senate, students, faculty, and staff rallied on a mild March afternoon against plans by Governor Deval Patrick to reorganize the state's community colleges. Student Senate President Nicole Collins said the governor's plan to change the focus of community colleges to providing more workforce development training does not align with why most students come to BCC, which is to earn credits toward transferring to other schools.
I think transferring here is an important piece for Bristol Community College. We have students that come here that go on to four-year institutions and get amazing careers. I think that if we move forward in that direction and change our mission statement to align with the workforce development goals of the state, that we might lose that piece, and there might not be as much emphasis on the transferring as much as there needs to be.
Collins went on to argue that the metric by which community colleges are measured put institutions like BCC at a disadvantage in terms of future funding opportunities.
The state measures success by if you are here for 3 years, you get your degree in that time, you get your degree, and you go right into a career. What they don't measure success is if you come here, you get your 30 credits, and you transfer to an amazing school like Brown, you don't really look well for statistics for Bristol Community College. And that's basically how they're going to decide how much money goes to our colleges. They're going to look at your performance evaluation, and if the performance evaluations aren't revamped and updated, then it's not going to reflect what Bristol Community College is really going to do.
A day after the student rally, Collins joined BCC staff for an event at the State House, advocating for increasing aid for public higher education. Every state university and community college was represented at the rally, which included meetings with individual state legislators. BCC President Dr. John Sprague says the local legislative delegation in BCC's service area is aware of the governor's proposal and the need to fully support higher education.
Uniformly, the legislators from our district are very supportive of BCC. They always have been, and I'm very grateful for that. They don't feel that they need to follow the governor's advice in the outside language, and it doesn't look as though that it's going to pass. At least it's not going to attract their votes. With regard to the budget itself for next year, there is some heartening news about, but it tends to go in cycles, month to month. There's some, lately the news about state revenues have been better, but unemployment is also worse now. So it's a mixed bag, and I can be assured that our legislature will do whatever it can to support BCC in the funding process.
President Sprague says in the proposed 2013 state budget, the governor did not break out how much BCC can expect next year because his reorganization plan seeks consolidation of the community college system. However, the state universities are expected to see an increase next year, so it's likely BCC will as well. Kudos go out to the BCC men's and women's basketball teams, which recently finished its 2011-2012 season. Even though the men finished with a record of 9-15, Rob Delalou's club did well enough in its region to earn a berth in the New England Regional Tournament. Jordan Burris and Zach Glover led the Bees in scoring at around 10.5 points per game. There's hope for next season as Delalou's entire squad is eligible to return. First-year head coach Jenny Ozug was hamstrung by a short bench, but was still able to lead the Lady Bees to a 2-18 season. Marita Gustav led all scorers, averaging 14 points per game. That's all for Around BCC for this month. We leave you today with a look at the artwork of Leslie Hurst, Mary Jo McGonigal, and Deborah Ramsey, currently on display at the Grimshaw Goodowitz Art Gallery in Fall River, now through April 11th. I'm Keith Tebow. Thanks for watching.